while in prison. Please note, Muslims are not allowed to mention the name of any prophet without saying alayhi salam, which means peace be upon him. Abraham alayhi salam was chosen. He was called to a specific assignment. When they threw him into the fire, all he had to say was, "God, help me." And God told the fire to be cool and safe. That's what this journey has been like for me. Of course, I'm not Abraham alayhi salam. I'm no prophet. But I do believe I have a purpose that made it so that despite the things designed to kill me, the racism, the criminal system of injustice, the attempted assault while in prison, it was God who told the prison to be cool and safe for me. So I didn't suffer the same fate of others accused of and imprisoned for rape. The code didn't apply to me for some reason. There was, I believe, a light that the guards and other prisoners saw in and around me, a light that made them say, "You don't belong here." That doesn't mean it was easy, not by any means. I had hard and difficult days, but I felt the sense of having a veil, a hedge of protection, following and covering me everywhere I went. My story is not your typical how I've overcome narrative. I've been so grateful for the ways in which the story of the now Exonerated Five has been told via documentaries and the recent Netflix limited series. Ava DuVernay's When They See Us and all the subsequent interviews may have given you a taste of what some of my life was like after that fateful day in April 1989. But my life didn't begin or end that day. My life is more than the sum of the worst things that happened to me. Now is the time for me to tell my whole story. I not only hope to share who I was then and who I am now, but also what I want to tell you about most is who I was before 1989. I want to tell you about the foundation laid by both my family and my faith, which ensured that I would not only survive this awful injustice, but also thrive in the midst of it. I also want you to know that no matter where you come from or what circumstances you may find yourself in, you can thrive in the midst of your trials. I have a somewhat mystical perspective when it comes to my experience. I firmly believe that when you look at what transpired in my life between then and now, what you see is the hand of God. You may ask, how is that possible? How can a terrible injustice such as the one I lived with for almost 25 years be representative of anything divine at work? I believe that everything that's happening to you is actually happening for you. Everything we experience in life, from our greatest joys to our deepest pain and hardship, is shaping and creating us. It's preparing us for what we will need later on in our lives. I was ripped out of society and lodged back in the womb of America, what some in America would call the belly of the beast. Like many black men and women, I was in a place where I was forced to be dependent on the system that in its creation is designed to use and harm black bodies for profit. And it's a dependence that can become too familiar, that you can feel too accustomed to if you're not careful. Far too often, men and women are physically released back into society who aren't mentally, emotionally, or spiritually ready. They experience that rebirth too soon. They aren't taught how to detach from the incubator, so to speak. They are still dependent on being fed by a deeply dysfunctional system. But when the cell doors shut, I knew, even at such an early age, that if I was not careful to protect my mind and heart, I could become attached to the process of getting my nourishment from a system that didn't care about me at all. I had to keep reminding myself that this experience was one that God would use to teach me something I would need in the future. I now firmly believe that I was being stretched, broken, and adjusted in a different way in order to be birthed back into society as a person who is now fearless. One clear and present example of God's hand in all this is the fact that the very person who castigated us, the person who, without knowing us, hated us the most and spent $85,000 for ads in national newspapers to bring back the death penalty